Hey, I just saw a report that there were 526,000 violent deaths last year.
And?
What do you mean, and? 526,000 people died of violent deaths last year.
I heard you, and you want to tell me this as a way to disprove the fact that I acknowledge the world is continually becoming a better place and easier to live in, and to support your bafflingly pessimistic idea that it isn't all evidence to the contrary?
Look, I'm not a pessimist. I'm an optimist. I just thought you'd find this interesting, considering your wrong belief that the world is getting better.
It is not a belief, it is an acceptance of reality.
There's a difference between people committing fewer crimes
And living happier lives.
and people becoming really better on a fundamental level, Brian.
Star Trek is impossible, you hippie bastard. Look, according to the CDC, there were 1,851,000 violent deaths in 1990.
So that does...
So, 20 years later, there are 1.3 million fewer violent deaths every year.
I've never doubted violent crime was decreasing. People more skilled with numbers than me have discovered that, and I will accept their conclusion. What I disagree with is the interpretation of the numbers and whether it's a lasting trend or not.
No, you just think that every single one of those million murders didn't happen because the killers are biding their time and that waiting for the right opportunity to strike, and that at some point in the near future, all of the murders that hadn't happened over the past 40 years are going to happen once in this fantastical, gruesome orgy of delayed violence, which will leave you blood-soaked but correct.
It's not impossible.
All right. What makes a trend lasting?
If it's indefinite.
That is a stupidly high bar.
No, I assume that was what was being speculated about. Otherwise, it hardly seems noteworthy. Surely it is to be expected that conflict ebbs and flows throughout history, and that there doesn't seem to be any particular advantage to an ebb except an outside chance of making it last while conditions are favorable.
Millions of people not dying and billions of people living better lives isn't a particular advantage?
I didn't say it wasn't a good thing.
Oh, you implied that heavily just now.
No, I didn't.
You did. Also, your what makes the world better criteria, completely impossible.
How do you figure?
The change has to be indefinite or it doesn't count?
Yeah.
So we could have 50,000 years of peace and prosperity with a trend line of murder and death that approaches zero. Everyone could be happy and feel perfectly fulfilled and never want to hate or hurt or kill anyone. But because you can't know if it wouldn't fall apart next year, it will always allow you to say it wasn't permanent, which is deeply pessimistic.
It wouldn't count because how could you know if it was because they were really better on a deep level or just acting better because things were better?
See? Impossible criteria to meet.
No, in Star Trek they did it. In Star Trek they achieved a greater level of enlightenment and did things because of their intrinsic value, not because of the reward, and the whole galaxy was better because of it. And I firmly believe we can achieve this science-fictional paradise even if it takes us centuries to achieve.
In the original series, they were all flowers and puppy dogs, yes, but in that case, you've got, what, like 300 years of peaceful prosperity before it all went to shit?
What are you talking about?
Well, you said that 50,000 years of peace doesn't matter because it's not necessarily permanent. Yet, you're also saying that the peace in Star Trek would count, even though it was never really peace and only lasted a few hundred years.
How did it only last a few hundred years? It was permanent. Humanity went out into the stars.
But only in the original series. In Next Gen and Deep Space Nine and Voyager, hell, even Enterprise, they wisely threw all of that hippie baloney to the side and humans were fighting each other all over the place.
Yeah, but they only added that for dramatic attention, not because the people had changed. I mean, come on, Brian. You really need to learn how to debate people better. You're embarrassing yourself.